Welcome here to the SCGMKE Open. I'm Matthias Hunt, joined by Ryan Overturf. You're watching the SCG Tour, sponsored here by Ultimate Guard. The field of 606 players that started the tournament has now narrowed down to 8. Of them, Joe Lossett, number 3 in our Player of the Year race. You see him on Green Red Tron, the overall 2nd seed, a dominant tournament, never fell below 8th place for the entire weekend. He'll be on the play. He's playing against Will Drescher. Will, a player from the Minneapolis area, on a pretty innovative deck. It's Death's Shadow aggro. We've had rumblings of this deck in Modern for a couple months now, but hasn't had that breakout win just yet.
It had a solid start to Pro Tour at Eldrazi.
Yeah, it was great there until we realized that a bunch of people packed Chalice of the Voids and Simian Spirit Guides in their main deck. A near unbeatable combo against the deck. So, game 1. Lossett is on the play. He's kept. Will is on a 5-card hand. He's mulliganing and debating a scry. Now, how much of a concern are you on a 5-card hand from Death's Shadow?
So, a lot of your cards, you have things like Street Wraith and Gitaxian Probe, which you can chain together to deal yourself enough damage to make your Death Shadows live. It doesn't take a lot of cards to actually win the game, but there is pressure to have very specific cards now. So
Joe on the play will lead with Urza's Mine into Expedition Map. This has all the signs of a turn 3 Tron, and we'll see. Will casts Gitaxian Probe. He sees Urza's Tower, Chromatic Star, a basic forest, a Wormcoil Engine, and a Spellskite. So this means with a turn 2 tower and map, Joe can have a turn 3 Wormcoil Engine.
Also, that Spellskite is just great on its own in this matchup.
Yeah, so Joe will have to actually pick between map and Skite on turn 2.
Right.
But you're right, these are great cards.
Yeah, unless Will's on the table in a very significant way. The Spellskite just eats all these pump spells. Will Drescher's deck, he's on Temur Battle Rage. He's on Become Immense. He has that 1 copy of Might of Alara. Just a lot of pump spells.
Will play Bloodstained Mire. For Joe, it's Tower. He's going to go with map, proactive over reactive. Will drawing a Lightning Bolt. It's now 3 copies of that Lightning Bolt in his hand, and no creature, no land. Game 1 will go to Joe Lossett. So walk me through what happened here. Will didn't really play any cards.
Okay, so Will mulliganed to 5. His deck plays 16 1-mana creatures. He had a land, so clearly he did not draw any of the creatures in his deck.
I think he had a Death's Shadow in his hand.
Okay, he didn't go low enough in life total to actually keep that creature on the battlefield.
Right.
Didn't draw enough of those Street Wraiths and Gitaxian Probes to get himself to the proper threshold. Meanwhile, Joe, Will looked at his hand with the Gitaxian Probe. He saw that there was a turn 3 Wormcoil Engine incoming. Will's deck can do a lot of damage, but it can't deal that much damage.
Yeah, well, the Lifelinker is a pretty bad news too. So, yeah, we look at Will's deck, and what is he keeping then? You know, he didn't do anything. Is it this inconsistent?
I don't think it's this inconsistent. You know, part of the issue, we're playing a 17-land deck, and you do have step links. So some of your draws are going to line up awkwardly. 1-landers, even with as many 1-mana spells as you have, it's like a 4-color deck. You have to have at least 2 lands to actually play the game. So you'll have some hands like that, but clearly Will put on a very good performance in the Swiss rounds of the tournament, and I think that he just got a little unlucky here. Hopefully he'll be able to keep a 7-card hand in these post-sideboarded games.
All right, well, we'll look straight at the sideboard 2 minutes into the round. Kind of a no contest for the first game. Joe Lossett has copies of 3 Thragtusk, 4 Nature's Claim, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 3 Warping Whale, 1 Spellskite, and 2 Lightning Bolt. Well, what do you like in the matchup?
The second Spellskite is definitely great. That first one would have been excellent in that game. Lightning Bolt to interact with some of these 1-mana creatures, keep Will off the table. We saw a Tron player bringing in Nature's Claim earlier in the tournament, just a way to gain some early life, help bridge the gap to get you up to those Thragtusks. I do think we want to bring in the 3 Thragtusks here. They're a little slow, but if the game gets to that point, that's a great spell to be casting.
All right, we go over to Will Drescher's side. His sideboard is 1 Thrun, 4 Thoughtseize, 2 Gutshot, 1 Dismember, 1 Deathmark, 2 Ancient Grudge, 1 Traverse the Ulfenvault, 1 Spellskite, an Abbot of Carol Keep, and then a Forest. You might wonder about that basic land. It's related to Traverse the Ulfenvault.
Yeah, Traverse the Ulfenwald, you have this 1-of in the sideboard. If you don't have Delirium, it can only find a basic land. There's no basic lands in Will's main deck. It's just a bunch of fetches and duels. He doesn't care about taking the damage, doesn't want a basic land. The Forest is a way around that.
He doesn't really need any of his sideboard here.
He's pretty much just looking at Thoughtseize. That'll upgrade the Dismember that he has in his main deck. and possibly cut a couple other cards to get those Thoughtseizes in. He has an Apostle's Blessing that's okay. That can get through artifacts. It's a rare protection spell that grants protection from artifacts.
Joe Lossett, the player from Redlands, California. We saw him nearly qualify for the Players' Championship in Season 1, ending up in 4th place, falling 2 slots in the Invitational, meaning he is still here on the tour trying to work his way back to the Players' Championship for the 3rd straight year. You see 19 Open Series top 8s, 5 wins. He's really quite the consistent mainstay on the tour, but he's going to have to fight for it, and no better way to make a statement than a good finish this weekend.
Oh yeah, he's on just a nightmare bracket in this top 8. He's up a game right now. Clinching this win here would be excellent for Joe.
He has described this might be his worst matchup in the format. The deck, might even be worse than Infect for him.
Yeah.
Players are going to get ready for Game 2. One thing that we're doing over on StarCityGames.com, if you're following us, we've been running some weekly sales as of late. So if you head over onto the store, you can get, right now, we have a different product every week. The current one is on full art basic lands. So you can get these. The sale ends Monday at 10:59 a.m. That's Eastern time, so it's nearly 8 a.m. on Pacific time, so you want to stay around for that. But new sales going up each week.
This sale would not apply to Will Drescher.
He doesn't play any? Well, he has the one on the board.
Okay, maybe he needs an Unhinged Forest.
Yeah. Death Shadow Aggro plays 5 mana-producing lands. You see he will mulligan again. Now, one of the criticisms I've seen of Death Shadow Aggro is that the deck is inconsistent. I'll say Will's not doing anything to help that perception right now.
Yeah, he's not proving them wrong with this specific match.
Did go 12-3 through the Swiss rounds, however. I'll say I've lost my fair share of games to this deck.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
He also top 8'd at Minnesota States last weekend.
This is one of his best matchups. I'm sure he was happy to see the top 8 bracket, but now down a game and mulliganing, things are more dicey on his side. Joe's asking, is Magic going to happen? Are we going to play? Other winners right now of Game 1s. Jory White on Burn, up a game. Andrew Main, up a game on Andrew Tenjin. We'll get to as many of those matches as we can here in the top 8. This one figures to be a short affair one way or the other. See Will scrying to the top after mulliganing to 6.
Most of his lands are fetch lands, so we'll see how. Okay, the Taxium Probe will enable him to draw that card.
All right, so now he'll see what he's up against. Let's take a look at Joe's hand. We see World Breaker and Ugin. Those are pretty far off. But for Joe, Lightning Bolt, Spellskite, Tower, and Chromatic Sphere. So actually, only one land for Joe. He's really banking on some of the more important cards here, right?
Yeah, so he has the Spellskite, one of his 2 Spellskites, and a Lightning Bolt to interact early, but he needs to find a land. This is a hand that's totally keepable, particularly on the draw. If he's able to find really any land, the Sphere lets him cast the Lightning Bolt. He'll be able to cast the Spellskite. I do like this keep, though it is dicey.
He'll burn off another Gitaxian Probe. If you have not seen this deck from Will, it very aggressively deals damage to itself to activate cards like Death's Shadow.
Right.
And against Tron, he's not going to pay a price for doing that.
No. Tron's either going to be casting Haymakers that win the game or it's not.
So 16 off the Gitaxian Probes, now a fetch land. Probably for a shock land will put Will all the way down to 13. And we'll go to 11. We'll do 9 to ourselves on the first turn to cast Thoughtseize. And Will takes the Chromatic Sphere. Oh, wow.
This will shut off that Lightning Bolt for Joe, and also the Sphere would draw a card to help him find that second land.
I don't know. That's interesting. I thought he would take Spellskite, but not at all. Joe draws to a turn. It's Urza's Tower, and he just plays it.
Now, if Will just has another Thoughtseize, that one can take the Spellskite.
Joe playing the Tower. Now, Will didn't even know about Tower. Joe played the land that Will doesn't know about. So here's Wild Nacatl for Will. He'll pass. No more lands.
That's a 1/1 Wild Nacatl.
And 9 for Joe. He's got no colored mana. It's just Spellskite right now. I think one more. He's picked up another copy of Chromatic Sphere. So he could play Skite. He could also fire off that Stirrings for another land.
Yeah, in the face of no second land from Will, there's not a ton he can do. I think he had time, but playing the Spellskite here is also totally fine.
Spellskite for Lossett. Will swing with a 1/1 Nacatl off Overgrown Tomb. Play another one. Pass the turn. And Joe has drawn. It's another copy of Urza's Mine. So here's the Chromatic Sphere. tower. We'll go ahead and make, I assume, green mana for Ancient Stirrings.
I'm inclined to agree.
Draws a card. Not a land just yet. It's another sphere. And yeah, it's a green mana. He'll make Ancient Stirrings.
Yeah, really no need to lightning bolt one of these 1/1 wild Nacatls.
And Joe, top 5. There is a copy of Urza's Power Plant here. That'll do it. That's the third part of the Tron.
The dreaded Tron.
And it's coming. Ugin is coming. Here's Power Plant. It can make 2 mana. Things are looking bleak for Will Drescher and the Death's Shadow deck. Power Plant, Sphere. Still in mana floating. He could cycle this. I think he will. Goes ahead and makes a mana. We'll see what color. Red. Lightning Bolt takes care of Wild Nacatl. Passes back. Joe may end this match at a perfect 20 life. Nacatl swings for 1. Here's another one. Will cast it.
Will has drawn 4 of a kind.
Yeah. All right. There's the mine. There's the Ugin. Game and match Joe Lossett. Wow. What?
That's not the way that Willie Bones Drescher drew it up.
No, and you see on Joe's face just a big breath of relief there. He made it look easy, and he needed it to be that easy.
Yeah, he's just wondering what happened.
I think he knows.
Did I just win the lottery? I'm the luckiest. My opponent didn't do anything in the top 8 of the tournament.
You know, and there were some help. If Will's draws had come together, Joe had Spellskite both games. That is actually an excellent card in the matchup.
Yeah.
Joe could have beaten much better draws, but he didn't have to.
Yeah, Joe's draws not only were very good, and William just did not really put up a fight here. Bad way to go. Great one run by Will. Congratulations on making the top 8, but more importantly, congratulations on Joe Lossett moving closer to that finals matchup that's sure to be a positive matchup.